We all know about the figures that come out in the 80s and the 90s, but what else was released for G.I. Joe? There was some really weird stuff. Let's take a look. G'day all, welcome back to Frostbite's G.I. Joe Repro. So, over the last couple of years of collecting figures, getting back in my childhood, we see posts, usually in the American groups, for just these weird things that, they were like we had the figures, but then on the side, you'd have all this other material getting sold by companies cashing in on the license, which is, it's normal for any branding. But yeah, just over the years, I've noticed some really good ones, some really bad ones. Um, and yeah, it's finally gotten to the point where I've been saving them all into a folder, and now it's just time to go through some. So I've put together a collection. I haven't included things that I consider normal. So, weird things like, school backpacks or frisbees, stuff like that. Haven't included those. I've gotten a collection of things I thought were really cool, and some I was just WTF, and put it into this slide deck for you guys. We're just going to go through them. The the sort of attention or focus I'm going to pay to these things is, was it cool or facepalm as a kid, and cool facepalm as an adult collector, because there were a few things that I looked at and went, as a kid, no way, but as an adult collector, let's go on. And it sort of nailed it down for me the other night, attending an online Facebook auction for one of the Facebook sellers here in Australia, Chrissy B. Shout out to Chrissy. And she was selling an old school G.I. Joe branded green canvasy hat with, the neck protector on it. And I had my purchasing arch nemesis there, and I only say purchasing arch nemesis because usually it's me and him getting down to, um, bidding highly on things in Facebook auctions for GI Joe, but outside of the auction, outside of the bidding, even. Um, Love him. He's a great dude. Rod Adamo. Shout out to Rod. Has to be the biggest collector of stuff in Australia for Marvel, GI Joe, that kind of thing. Go check him out on Instagram. I believe he is that Aussie collector. And yeah, he's just got an amazing collection. Love the dude at all times, except for when I'm bidding on stuff. This hat, I got up to a bid of 45 Australian dollars, which is probably around I'm going to say around the 36 US mark, or 33 US mark. And then reality kicked in, and I said in the comments, I can't possibly bid $50 on a hat. So yeah, Rod ended up taking it home. Good on you, Rod. It's a cool hat. But yeah, just all these side things that we see now as a adult collector. There's no way I would have used or worn some of these things as a kid, but as a collector, totally different. And that's the view we're going to look at today. So first up, we've got this Saboteur's Toolkit. We've got the picture of Firefly there. I mean, this thing is effectively a almost real life version of Firefly's backpack from original V1. Now, just generally looking at this thing, it is cool. As a kid, I think this would have been sweet as in that 8 to 10-year-old range. would have been loving life. This out of the a lot of these side things that were released, this is probably one of the coolest things I imagine you could ever get. It came with a varying array of small tools to go in it, as you can see in the pictures there, and the back closed up with latches, just like a little toolkit. And then, as you can see, there were straps on the back. You could wear this thing like a backpack. You could effectively be Firefly. So, as a kid, definitely, I would have been asking for this thing every day. As an adult collector, I want this thing even more. This is one of the probably coolest GI Joe things I've ever seen. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you've got one of these in your collection. I originally saw this thing pop up in one of the GI Joe groups in America, and I'd never seen it before. And this was actually the first thing that I saw that made me want to do this kind of video, just to share with you what is actually sitting out there. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you've already got this in your collection. Is it complete? Have you got all these tools? This thing is cool as. Next up, I've got woodworking sets. I come across these when I was doing research for the video, and yeah, I don't know. As a kid, no way I would have been doing this. Like, how old are you when you were a kid? Like were you age 57 when you were 9 years old? Like, who's doing woodworking when they're 8 or 9 years old? The whole idea of this was to make your own soldiers, and yeah, it was. I don't know. I am looking at it through an adult's eyes, though, so that could be completely wrong. I don't know any kids, especially not any kids these days. Um, like if you gave them a woodworking set as a kid today, that thing would be going to the back of the cupboard. I don't care what label it had on it. As a kid back then, I was playing with my GI Joes. Why would I take time aside to be woodworking GI Joes? I don't know. It's really weird. As an adult collector, looking at this, I think, like I just sort of mentioned, it's way too weird for me. Even though it is labeled out the kazoo with GI Joe, and the artwork on the front of the right hand side picture, it looks fantastic. But yeah, it's just too obscure for me to have in my collection. Um, don't get me wrong though, there is probably dudes in America who have way bigger houses than me and can fit this kind of stuff into their collection, and it would look cool. Yeah, as with all of these things that I'll pop up today, let me know in the comments if you have any in your collection. Um, and in particular, if you have one of these woodworking sets, or the wood burn one on the right is actually a wood burning set. Let me know in the comments. Like, have you had a go of these things? Have you opened them? Um, is it something you're actually interested in, or did you just buy because it's got GI Joe written on it? Which I think would be the common thread here. Next up, Electronics Command Center. This thing looked really cool, and I know here in Australia, we didn't get labeled things like this, like branded things. We used to have a dude a while ago called Dick Smith, and he had like shops open that were equivalent of like Tandy or Radio Shack. I think Radio Shack's the American brand, but just sort of electronic type shops. And yeah, it was quite common. You could just go into that kind of place and get this kind of, touch this wire to this thing and make this LED light up. Wow. Oh my God. And this is the exact spitting image of that kind of thing. Getting a kid to sit down and learn the wonders of electronics. As a kid, getting this back in the 80s, yeah, this would have been cool, I reckon. And having that G.I. Joe command center type spin on it and doing things that were sort of military related, I think this actually would have been cool as. I sort of got one of these kits, not a G.I. Joe one, but just a, crap brand one. I think when I was about 13 or 14, and it was still cool back then. Um, but yeah, having like a GI Joe Command Center one would have been cool as a kid. As an adult collector, I'm gonna say that like the wood burning and crafting kits, this would be way too obscure for me to have in my personal collection, at least. But I can see that it is cool enough that yeah, that would be totally. I'm going to say nerdy, but real nerdy. But dudes that are into ham radios and or communications type stuff, but also into vintage toys like GI Joes. This would be the holy grail for dudes like that. So yeah, that's that one. Next up, this was another one that got floated for sale, or someone had picked it up in one of the American GI Joe groups. So it's a track and attack laser combat set. Um, we all remember those laser zone type shops that were open. At least we had them in the 80s, early 90s, somewhere around then. And you'd go there and you'd put your chest piece on and put your helmet on or whatever and run around and do laser battle. So yeah, them releasing a GI Joe version of this as a kid, this would have been perfect. How could it even get any better that you're able to be, imagining your sci-fi running around shooting Cobra. Yeah, it's cool. It is cool. As an adult collector, I think if I saw this is something I would buy. I think I would add it to the collection because it's sort of got a battle theme about it. It's not too obscure. I mean, think of all the lasers that were in G.I. Joe. You can definitely link something up here enough to have this in your collection. Let me know if you've got it. This thing. So there were a heap of, like comms pieces on these side things. And this one is a walkie-talkie field system. And this thing actually, to me, looked like, a military radio that would be carried in the field. And as a kid, I had a walkie-talkie system. It was cheap as a kid, probably as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old. And yeah, it would have been so much cooler if it was this thing, a GI Joe mobile field unit. Get into the field with your field unit. This would have been, pretty high up there as being something that you wanted for Christmas. As an adult collector, still the same. I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but up there, that's my GI Joe. I've got two little field radio things, and yeah, I love those things. The packaging's a little bit not great, but yeah, they're still little field radios, and this is the same thing. So yeah, both as a kid and as an adult, I'd be smashing it. I'd be definitely getting in line to purchase this kind of thing as an adult collector. Definitely, if I saw it available, because hey, I've already got one. I've already made a purchase of one. So yeah, I love this. Next up, and this was more heading down to um, more of a dress up thing. So this is the communications officer set. And it was mainly focused on, as you can see in the packaging, mainly focused on Breaker. Um, so you've got your helmet with adjustable headband. Um, it's got an articulated microphone on it. You've got a set of Binocs, some little radios, compass. Um, that looks like a little water canteen. Yeah, just a nice little kit. Uh, as a kid, this would have been perfect, I think, just for having that beautiful dress up out in the country with your mates. You're all running around like little army dudes, little breakers. Would have been great. As an adult, I think if you were finding this box with everything in it in really nice condition, I don't know why you wouldn't purchase this. This is spot on, straight to the feels. Um, yeah, it's really nice. So wrist walkie talkies. This was definitely one of the the pieces that I thought, holy crap, how did they do this? Um, so you can see on the picture there, it's the were just 5 volt batteries. These things must have been massive, I reckon. They've got their own little antennas, as you can see. There's on-off buttons. I did see there was another version of this as well. I think it was put out by a different company. Um, but yeah, how nice are these? Um, Definitely back in the mid 80s as well. Being able to have a walkie-talkie that just strapped onto your wrist, you would have been the shit. Like, how awesome would you have been having this little walkie-talkie, and your friend comes over and you give him the other one to put on? Man, you would have been popular. So yeah, as a kid, this would have been high up there on that list of definite things to have. Um, and even as an adult collector, if I saw these for sale, I'd be grabbing these as well, depending on price, of course. But yeah, these things look magic, just magic. It would have been nice. I don't think we ever saw these in the comics, but yeah, this is something that should have. It probably was, and I haven't seen it, but it would have been nice to see in the comics because these things are beautiful. Next up, this whole range of just metal objects. So you can see in the middle, you've got your full range in the middle of the slide there. Um, there was a whistle, and I sort of laughed when I saw that one. I was like, oh, who wants that? But then I thought, there would have been someone like a team leader type kid that really wanted it. So yeah, as a kid, especially the dog tags would have been highly sought after, I believe. These Ranger and Commando um, badges would have been pretty sought after as well. As an adult, these are probably some really nice pieces to have in your collection. Um, and the thing that made me laugh really hard was seeing these G.I. Joe Commando badges, and immediately the first thing I thought of, who would these be perfect for? And I thought, you know who to be perfect for? Are those dickheads out there in the community that, um, when some YouTuber says, he's got a submachine gun or something, and then there's some dickhead who's like, actually, it's the KP-49A Alpha. And that's who these badges are perfect for as adults. Are those people that, you know, haven't really served or haven't served any time in the military, but are quite happy to tell you about military stuff. Get your medals, boys. Get your medals. And I'm sure I don't think I hang around anyone that does that, but um, yeah, I I can definitely think of a few people that I would be handing these medals out to. But yeah, nice pieces, nice pieces. Now this thing spooked me out a little bit. It's a little bit hard to see, but yeah, look at the mask on that poncho. Like, can you imagine walking into a shop and you've got this GI Joe picture on the front of you, and you're wearing that mask? Like, they would, as an adult, they're probably going to think you're holding up the shop. As a kid, these probably would have been pretty cool, especially if it was raining, obviously, because they sort of do have that. I mean, that's what ponchos were like in the military at one point. Um, and I'm loving the statement on them, like we used to see on clothes back in the 80s. This one saying flame retarded material, flame retarded vinyl, which I had a bit of a laugh at, because you can have vinyl that is all the flame retarded in the world, but if it gets enough heat, it's probably going to melt all over the thing that's wearing it. Um, so it may not catch on fire, but I only went to public school, but I'm pretty sure get enough heat, that thing's going to melt, and it's not going to be nice. So yeah, I used to sort of laugh a bit at all these warnings that we saw on things. But yeah, that mask, that's quite the mask. And then on this other one, um, the sort of the Halloween costume here, yeah, it's. I mean, this was probably what kids were wearing, right? My American friends, let me know if this is something you wore as a kid. I'd say as a kid, like in the early '80s or something, this was probably the shit to wear, right? So yeah, as an adult, these things, I don't know if I'd be having them in my collection. I mean, if one of these boxes popped up in an auction and it was cheap enough, I'd probably grab it just to have it. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be spending a lot of money on these things. Next up, and I freaked the shit out when I saw these things, actual phones. Um, and all I could think was, it's such a pity we don't still have phone lines in our houses. Everything's done through fiber and, um, you know, everything except landline. Because these things would have been cool to, it's it's like back in the 80s, you had things like this. You had the Garfield phone where you'd pick up the receiver and his eyes would open, I think. Or you had your burger phone or the hot dog phone or whatever. All those novelty phones that were just so dumb in the 80s. But I think people would definitely go back now and definitely purchase. And I know I would be the same. Like if one of these crossed into an Australian group, um, I would probably buy it and just fix it to the wall anyway. So it was just sitting there like I had a phone on the wall. Because, man, they look nice. They're nice retro pieces of kit. As a kid, can you imagine, like, if your parents had one of these as the main phone to the house? You would just, yeah, you'd explode, I reckon, with excitement. Um, just wondering if the next phone call is going to be from Duke or Hawk about to send you on the next mission. Yeah, it's cool, very cool household stuff. Okay, these ride-on toys. Now I'd seen one of these before, but not these ones. So these ones, these two you can see on the screen are Arctic Patrol ones. The top one you can see it's a steerable snowmobile. The bottom one you can't see because my big head's in the way, but it says Arctic Patrol bobsled. The top one says this snowmobile takes lots of rough stuff, so get ready for fun. The special hand and foot steering lets you maneuver it instantly for exciting winter missions out on the hills. Twist the sturdy steel handlebars with plastic grips to zip around corners and turns. The authentic military styling makes it even more fun. And then the Arctic Patrol bobsled says, here's the rough and tough military look bobsled that puts a layer of air between you and the snow to help insulate against the cold. Features authentic looking military decorations, malted hand grips, a handy tow rope, and special air chamber construction. As a kid, if you lived in a place that got snow, would have been the most amazing pieces of kit ever. Just so awesome. As an adult, these two, F yeah, I would love to have these sitting in my backyard, just as display pieces. But that bobsled, imagine having that going to the snow as a 47-year-old dude, just going down the hill in that thing. You would be the envy of all of the other fathers in their 40s. And then there was all these other ones. So this bottom one you can see on the bottom left, the G.I. Joe Laser Defense Patrol Power Cycle. That's the more common one, and I think we saw it in a Transformers version as well. But yeah, look at the little twin 50 cals. Oh, I just named a weapon, a gun wrong. Um, yeah, little twin weapons on the front of it with the little hair side. Yeah, that's cool. Um, and that thing up the top, the Armored Recon Patrol Vehicle, check that shit out. It's battery operated and built for lots of action. Just hop in and go because dual levers control backwards, forwards, right, and left field movement, all on a 6-volt rechargeable battery. There's a front mounted laser blaster with an electronic light and sound too. That thing's pretty sweet. So yeah, like the other ones, like if you had these things as a kid, yeah, you were living the life. I would imagine this was probably a rich family thing, like definitely that battery powered thing. Like I didn't even know we had battery powered kids' cars back in the 80s. It sure as shit wasn't in an Australia thing. Um, okay, so next up, we've got these laser blazers, 3D holographic stickers. Nothing out of the ordinary there. They are totally what you'd expect to see from the 80s. And I actually just wanted to put them on here for one reason only. And it's these kooky ass instructions on the back of the card. So, I mean, when I've seen holographic stickers, you have no choice, but you will, like any object that you pick up, you will move it around. And this is no exception. So when you are looking at one of these stickers, it is going to refract and you will see the hologram. I just love that they've gone to the effort of putting instructions on the back that you need to have it at a 45-degree angle in line with the sun and your eyesight. And yeah, it just made me laugh a little bit. But apart from that, these things look cool. I would love to have some G.I. Joe holographic stickers as a kid. Definitely would have loved this as a kid. And as an adult, sure, if I was to find these things somewhere, I would probably buy these. Who doesn't like some holo stickers or cards? Next up, this thing, Pack and Sack. So I was a bit sort of confused when I saw the name. And then when I saw what it was, made complete sense, and I actually quite liked it. Um, so what it is a sleeping bag that goes into a camouflage backpack, hence the pack and sack. So it's a backpack and a sack or a sleeping bag. Um, for a kid, perfect. This is exactly what you'd be taking your sleepover to a mate's place. And yeah, it's absolutely spot on. Who wouldn't want a G.I. Joe product like this? As an adult, probably not. It's still a cool thing, but not really going for a sleepover at a mate's place. So for me, it'd just be taking up room in the collection. So yeah. But I did sort of laugh looking at all these other things that were available as well. So there's a G.I. Joe Trooper Dome Fun. What is that? Fun Hut. A commando tent, commando sleeping bag, and then the two different pack and sacks, one being camo and one not. So yeah, pretty cool products. As a kid, absolutely spot on. So yeah. Next up is this voice amplifier. Um, just looked cool. I was sort of laughing at the kid. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I was laughing at the kid on the front here. Because you sort of see all these other kids just running around in t-shirts and stuff. And this kid is in a full-baked safari suit almost, loving life with his voice amplifier. Notice they got a picture of Stalker on the front, and he also has his own voice amplifier. As far as like having this as a kid, yep, another spot on thing. You'd probably want it, I guess, so that you're yelling like your orders to people. I don't know. I imagine it'd be still a cool toy. As an adult, nah, this doesn't hit the collection thing for me at all. It just fits into that thing of if I saw it real cheap, I'd probably pick it up because it's got the G.I. Joe thing on it, but otherwise I wouldn't be hunting this thing down. Now, trash cans. This just fascinated me. This would be the kind of bullshit present that you get from your aunt or uncle at Christmas time. Like um, your aunt's gone to your mum and said, "Oh, what is little Billy like? What's he into?" And your mum says, "G.I. Joe, loves G.I. Joe." So old Aunt Mary's out buying you a present, and then you're opening this big present up at Christmas time from Aunt Mary and Uncle Pete. I don't know. And you open that up, and it's a trash can. Wow. So yeah. But it's cool. It's another Joe thing. So as a kid, it'd be a massive no from me. As an adult, I don't know. Might be cool to have it here in my office. Apart from that, nah, I'm not buying that shit. This to me is right on the extent of just putting trademark stuff, license stuff on objects and letting it out into the world. When you're selling G.I. Joe trash cans, yeah, you've just lost the plot and you're just about the money then. This thing, counterintelligence set, I'll just go straight off the bat. I love this shit. Uh, you can send and receive secret messages and signals, code and decode field dispatches, 4 different code systems, fingerprint suspected spies, and check for friend or foe. Num num num. Like this is exactly the kind of thing that should be coming out from the GI Joe franchise. Can't see it because my big head's in the way, but just under my big Big Head, there's a picture of Snake Eyes in his commando outfit. You can see everything that's sort of coming in the set there on the slide. And yeah, it's great. This is something that I might actually try and hunt down. Sure as shit, there's none in Australia. So this will be coming directly from the States. This looks like a very cool, specialized thing. And I really like that they didn't go with the typical communications officer command center thing, which was just a rebranding of objects that are already out there. Like counterintelligence set fits exactly with G.I. Joe. As a kid, fingerprinting people and sending secret messages, straight in. That is spot on, exactly what you'd want to be doing as a kid. As an adult collector, spot on. This is exactly what I would want in my set. So yeah, let me know if you have this bad boy in your collection. The Destro costume. I was a bit sort of nah, and then sort of changed to a bit of yeah. So as a kid, if you're a big G.I. Joe fan, probably not so much in Australia because I don't think, everyone wasn't G.I. Joe or Transformers. There were other things. But yeah, in America, this would have been exactly what every kid would have been wanting to dress up as, right? Like this is an actual Destro costume type thing rather than, a smock with a picture of a G.I. Joe soldier on it and some bung ass mask to go along with it. This actually looks like Destro with, it comes with his ruby necklace and a comms device and these gauntlets. Like it's just cool stuff. So yeah, as a kid, probably in America, excellent. As an adult collector, I think yes. I think this is something. If I saw it, I probably would try and win it in an auction or something. I thought it was good. Next up was the cereal, and let me know just to confirm. This is the whole Starduster thing, right? This was the cereal that he was featured from, the G.I. Joe Action Stars. Now, this thing come with apparently 3 different file cards, one on each back type thing. That's cool. I don't know what else you were getting from these things. Anyone more experienced with these, please let me know. But yeah, as a kid, if you were into G.I. Joe and you love G.I. Joe, you would be asking. It wouldn't even matter what the cereal tasted like. You'd be asking your mum and dad to buy these. As an adult, sure. Like I think having one of these boxes on display would be cool. A cool part of your collection, especially if it's, as I'm suspecting, the one that's linked to the Starduster thing. And they're action stars. Get it? They're little stars, cereal shaped stars. But yeah, I like it. Next up is this paramedic kit, and total rebranding of, that the same medical kit that you get with any licensed branding. So, even like this come out in the 80s or something, even my kids, my teenagers, I bought them a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse medic kit. And then I bought them I think a Doc McStuffins medic kit. Like it's the same thing. These things have just been going for 30 years or something. Yeah. but obviously in the right colors and branding, right? I think what would have been good is having G.I. Jane, the original nurse, being the character on this. Would have been, yeah, made a lot more sense. But, as a kid, you're not wondering why they got a picture of Duke on the front rather than a female nurse. But yeah, whatevs. Um, as a kid, sure. At around that 8 years old or something, this is going to hit perfect on when you're playing out in the field and with your mates. Um, as a adult collector, I would probably stay away from this. It's sort of hitting into the realms of like you really just giving up on life, trying to trademark shit now. Yeah. This Periscope cracked me up. Just a full on Periscope. Um, I would love to. I don't think I've actually used a proper Periscope, so I'd love to know how well this actually worked. But once again, just using that same picture of Duke, he's there, and now he's there. Um, yeah, it's still cool though. Like as a kid, this would be phenomenal. I reckon the fact of you could be hiding in a like dirt hole, one of your dirt holes or something. Don't yeah, maybe I won't use the term dirt holes anymore. Um, but in a pit, yeah, let's leave it at that. A pit, and using the periscope, you can see over the top, and yeah, excellent for an adult collector. I think this would be pretty cool. I've never seen this before in person, and it's an actual sort of piece of equipment rather than some bullshit medic kit. I think this is it's cool. If I saw it at a reasonable price, I'd be probably trying to pick it up. Another costume coming through, the Slaughter costume. That mask is reasonably freaky. I wasn't able to find any pictures of what else comes with it, but I'm imagining it's going to be a smock, probably with a picture of Sergeant Slaughter on it. Let's go with that. But yeah, that mask. Um, I'll be chasing this up with Zazel's Clubhouse, one of my channel members, and seeing if he actually owns this. Because if he doesn't, this has to be high on his list. Vehicle play tent. This thing looks massive. Um, you can see it sort of in relation to the rest of the room. I'm gonna just chuck it out there that you'd probably be able to fit a couple of sleeping bags in there, and this would have been excellent for kids around that 8, 9 age group. Um, as an adult collector, if you got the room in your house, probably why wouldn't you have this thing? I mean, it's got a turret on there, and I'm guessing you probably can move that turret from within the tent, and you can see there's little slits in the front bit there that you can probably look out of. It's pretty cool. I just don't have a house where I can fit stuff like that in, but yeah, it's still cool. Notice in the background there, don't know for sure, but it looks like a bit of a snowcat. Um, yeah. The camping set and the field belt. So I put these up here because they were two, really good examples of stuff that you would be using as a kid to sort of live out those military fantasies of, being a GI Joe. And they both pretty much came with the same stuff, um, except the field belt comes with a belt. Oh no, the other one does too, maybe down the bottom. Um, but yeah, the field belt's got the shovel as well. It's also got the massive picture of Sergeant Slaughter on it. Um, for a kid, once again, I think this is sort of right up there on things that would be great presents as a kid. And just that, you can tell the one on the left was, it was done by a company called Nasta. It's almost nasty. And they've got this little tiny picture of Sergeant Slaughter on the torch that you can't see because of my big head. But yeah, this one on the right, you can tell it's the official licensed product. Like it actually says official field belt. And down the bottom it says live the adventure. And I love that. Like this is like just punching straight into the fact that this is Hasbro product. It looks like it. 40-inch windsock wasn't just my wrestling name at college. This thing apparently takes no assembly. It's a bike streamer. It's a decoration. It's a kite tail. Okay. So, yeah, it just made me laugh. 40-inch windsock. That's what kids are asking for Christmas in the 80s, was it? A 40-inch windsock that requires no assembly. You just run with it. Yeah. And then there was more kites, including this 6.5-foot octopus kite. So that is a massive kite. You've got this real banger over here on the left, a stream kite. I'd say they're probably the same thing. But you've got Sci-Fi matched up against Storm Shadow. And Storm Shadow seems to be blocking any attacks by Sci-Fi with his swords, by crossing his swords. Well done, Storm Shadow. And then there was more kites. This 30-foot dragon kite. Now, 30-foot, what's that? Like 14 Volkswagens or something? That's a big boy. I'm 6'5", so that's a bit under 5 of me. That's a massive kite. It says no assembly, ready to fly, launches from your hand. I would say you would have to lay this out. It'd probably take you half an hour to lay all this shit out. And then you would have to run like the Flash to get this boy up in the air. What I did appreciate, though, is we've got low light in there. So, yeah, spot on. All these kites, like as a kid, back in the day when there was no tablets and computers, not ones that families could afford anyway. Kites were the shit, right? Like, they were cool. Go fly a kite. It was a bit of fun. So yeah, as a kid, probably, yeah. As an adult collector, nah, this is all just rubbish to me. It's just literally stuff with G.I. Joe pictures on it. So I wouldn't be having too much interest in this. The camo fanny pack. This cracked me up. Camouflage belly bag. It's apparently made of sturdy fabric. Has an adjustable waist strap and an easy on-off buckle. Awesome. As a kid, I don't know. I don't know what the fanny pack, how popular the fanny pack was in the States in the 80s. And yeah, I just don't know. Here in Australia, I didn't even know what a fanny pack was when I was around that age. As an adult collector, hell yeah, bring on the fanny packs. If it's got G.I. Joe on it in a camo pattern, like that. I was telling you, I tried bidding on. This would be reaching around the same price, I reckon. just for that laugh factor of, one of your teenage daughters pisses you off, it's time to strap that camo G.I. Joe fanny pack on and walk around town with them. Yeah, such delight. Postcards. Who would have thought that it was something cool? So I put these up just because of the weird sayings that were on them. So, you got that classic cover, and it's saying, I get a bang out of you. And then there's regards from the troops. And then tag, you're it. And then thanks for the memories. I would love to know who was assigned to have the final say on what sayings go on each of these postcards. And then there was more postcards. So on this left one, you've got Baroness and Mindbender with a whole bunch of ninjas behind them. And it says, it's party time, join us. Then there's Hawk from the Special Missions #1 comic. And it says, drop me a line or else. And then Zarana and Xandar with hi from the two of us. I don't know who you would be sending these postcards to or from. And then there was 2 more postcards that sort of cracked me up a little bit. So you've got Snake Eyes held by Dr. Mindbender in one of his machines. And he's doing a memory scan. So it says, let me entertain you. So while he is just ripping his brain apart, it's got let me entertain you. And this is a postcard that you're sending to someone. I just don't get it. But if you don't get this, wait for the next one, because holy shit, this one cracked me up. So you've got all the Joes in like a mess hall or something, or their boozer. And what is the most common thing that you would say Flint, I think, or Falcon, one of the two, is going to say? Me for some chips. Because when you want some chips from someone, you hold your hand out and you say, me for some chips. And then you've got someone who I would have thought was Chuckles, but then there's a red-headed Chuckles behind him. But this fake Chuckles is saying, anybody want to arm wrestle? How's about punch faux punch? I don't know what that means. And then you got Recondo. He's a bit awkward. And he's saying yo Joe, but there's a comma in between it, like yo Joe. I think this would be a postcard to try and actually find. Postcards for kids, who gives a shit? But adult collectors, this postcard in particular would be fire. If you could find the original postcard of this, I reckon easy $15-20, just because of how dumb this is. Battle sounds. So I was a bit confused when I originally saw this, and then I realized it's a box that you're pressing buttons on that make sounds, so that while you've got your G.I. Joe figures around you doing battle and stuff, you can press a button and hear that sound. And probably sure as shit, this was a precursor to Sonic Fighters. So yeah, it looks cool. As a kid, probably excellent. This is probably an excellent thing for a kid. As an adult collector, because it's not actually Hasbro, this is that Nasta company again, the Nasty company. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know as an adult collector. I think this would just be, because it doesn't look too big It would be something, just a curiosity object. If you could find it, probably just get it. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be missing that much, because I'm going to guess that a lot of these sounds were turned up on the Sonic Fighters backpacks anyway. Sunnies, this cracked me up only because look at them. And this looks like exactly what you would see Spearhead from Spearhead and Max wearing. That looks like Spearhead. If it's not Spearhead, it's Dusty. It's one of those two. As far as, kids wanting this, probably not. Like, what kids gave a shit about eye protection? And the fact that they're blocking over 99% UV rays, no kid cares about that. As an adult collector, yeah, I think it is pretty cool, as long as it's got that sticker on it. Because that sticker looks to me like it's literally just a sticker that's just going to come off. So yeah, I think if you bought this in the packaging, that would be cool. Yeah. This one was one of the things that cracked me up the most. So it's a yo-yo, all good. It was released as part of a series over a whole bunch of different lines. So you can see Ghostbusters, Pee Wee Herman, just a whole bunch of different stuff in there. And then there's G.I. Joe. And who did they pick for the character? We've got Repeater. But what the frick is happened to Repeater? What has happened to him? It's like, I don't know, the Swedish bikini team have turned up on the battlefield, and Repeater's like, oh, I'm going to go and get me some coal. And then he's turned around, he's like, and they've just all, done a uniform change or something in front of him. And he's like, derp, derp. Yeah, what a weird look to give a guy that's a battle hardened soldier. As a kid, I don't think so. I think kids would have been after those Coca-Cola Russell type ones. But as an adult collector, yeah, just for that freaky ass picture, this could be one that you could be after. Next up, we've got this CD that was produced. Now, I think the band was called G.I. Joe Killers. These dudes did not give a shit about copyright. They made this CD. They flat out just put the G.I. Joe symbol, like logo, on there. They put Coco, Destro, and Baroness on the front. And then they had some just lovely titles such as Cobra Forever, Packin' Hot Heat, Oda de Cobra, Bleeding All Crazy, Taking Over the World, We Possess Power, Who Spilled the Juice, G.I. Joe Sucks, or Suck, and Cobra Wants You. Some real cracker tunes going on there. I have not listened to this, and I checked it on eBay, and it was going for about $300. Very weird. So, as you'd expect, when someone makes something like a CD and uses the shit out of the G.I. Joe franchise to market their own music, I don't think that went down very well, and the CD was pulled down real quick. So, yeah, that's probably why it's gone for about $300 on eBay, because you will not see this again. Be interesting to know what the songs are like. I don't really have any interest in going to find out, but definitely let me know in the comments if you've got this in your collection. Patriotic Water. Just labeled clearly American. What is going on there? So yeah, G.I. Joe Water. I don't have much to say about this. Things like CDs and bottles of water. no kid's going to really give a crap about this, and honestly, no adult's really going to give a crap about it either. And I find it mildly disturbing that it's called Clearly American. Like, I don't know what was trying to be portrayed here, but yeah, really, it's really at that end of just you've given up on life and you're just making stuff now. And as we talk about giving up life and just making stuff, we here have the G.I. Joe Fishing Strike Team. I cannot emphasize enough how this is just getting a product and putting a name on it. Like, literally, you don't even need the G.I. Joe symbol on there, and it could be just called Fishing Strike Team, and nobody's going to bat an eyelid. Like, why is the G.I. Joe on there apart from just selling fishing rods? Dickheads. Like this, as you can tell by the wrapping, this is not a vintage item. This was in the 90s. So I'm going to be sort of, noting that Joe's went to shit in the mid-90s. I'm going to be doubting how much kids are actually going to be wanting this as opposed to some type of good branded fishing rod. And as an adult, like, I don't want this shit. I don't want to be anywhere near this. It is so bad. And hilariously, you can see the lure is a jet. If you can, oh no, you can't see it because it's behind my big buff head. Go check this out on online, and you'll see the lure is like an F. Oh no, it's an F-117. Just weird stuff. So yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for staying until this point. If you like the comment, hit that like button. And I know pretty much, most of you are subbed to my account. I've had really great support from a lot of YouTube people. But if you're not subbed, please hit that sub button. And please consider spending the $2 or so USD to become a member of my channel. You will get extra content weekly. Like, you'll get a couple of extra videos weekly. This video will be released early to channel members. So yeah, please go and check out my channel membership. But apart from that, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Oh